Hey guys, KangaskIt18 here, back with another round of shiny speculation for the upcoming Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. Now as you may know, data mining from the Sun and Moon demo has revealed the shiny forms of all the new Pokemon, including this generation's legendaries. So today, I'm going to be taking a look back at my old shiny speculation and grading myself on how well it matched up with the official shinies. So let's get started with some new forms of an old Pokemon. We've got Zygarde Cell and Zygarde Core. Now since regular Zygarde is black and green and shiny Zygarde is white and bluish green, I thought that Zygarde Cell and Zygarde Core should both turn a bluish green color, with the exception that Zygarde Core gets a purple core. And the one we got was technically nothing. Zygarde Cell and Zygarde Core don't have battle models in the games, which means that, in all likelihood, they'll never have a shiny made for them. And seeing as I speculated that they would get shinies, well, I was just about as wrong as you could possibly be. So I'm gonna have to give myself an F. And moving on, we've got another new form of Zygarde. It's Zygarde 10%. And if you're confused why a dog turns into a dragon snake thing, you should know that the Zygarde forms are based on Loki's children in Norse mythology. But onto the shinies now. In keeping with the already established Zygarde shiny, I thought the Zygarde 10% should turn mostly white with blue-green markings and a purple gem. And the one we got was pretty much exactly that. White all over with the exact same color blue-green. The only difference is the red gem stays the same color. Still, even though it wasn't that much of a stretch, I nailed it pretty exactly, so I'm gonna give myself an A. And up next, we've got the last of the Zygarde forms. It's Zygarde 100%. And again, this is pretty much going to follow the same speculation as the others. The black turns white, and the green turns bluish green, except I thought the red and blue markings seem to represent X and Y, so I thought that the shiny markings ought to turn orange and purple to represent Sun and Moon. And the one we got was the same white and blue-green I speculated, but the markings stay the same red and blue colors they always were. And in a somewhat subtle twist, the claws, knee pad, eyes, and other markings get a pale yellow tone. So I was mostly right, but I got the color of some of the markings wrong, so I'm gonna give myself an A-. And up next, we've got the Island Guardian Tapu Koko. And I gotta say, at the time, I had no idea what color shiny Tapu Koko should be. So just messing around in Photoshop, I came up with this. Blue for the arm shields, yellow for the rest, and give it a white streak through the crest. And here's the one we ended up with. The arm shields turn black, the orange ends up kind of a salmon color, and it gets a black streak. And the other Tapus seem to follow suit. Tapu Lele, Tapu Fini, and Tapu Bulu all have outer shells that turn black, with the main color turning a lighter tone. The odd one out here is Tapu Fini, whose blue color stays the exact same, but overall, I really like these shinies. In any case, Tapu Koko shiny is way different than the one I came up with, so I'm gonna have to give myself an F. Moving on, we've got the first of the Sun and Moon mascot legendaries. It's Solgaleo. Now I gotta say, I love Solgaleo. In fact, it's the entire reason why I'm getting Sun and using it as my main Gen 7 game. And I thought it could end up with a pretty cool shiny, perhaps one where the red bits all turn blue, the yellow bits turn silver, and the black parts turn a deep reddish color. Now this is kind of simple, but at the same time, it's one of my favorite shinies that I've ever come up with. But here's the one we ended up getting. The white parts turn a deep red color, the red parts turn purple, and everything else stays the same color. And I don't know, this shiny just seems a little too garish for me, and I don't think bright red suits Solgaleo very well. Still, I was way off on this one, so I'm gonna have to give myself an F. Next up, we've got the mascot for Moon version, Lunala. And coming up with the shiny for Lunala was difficult because there's not a whole lot of colors that seem to work well for it. But anyway, here's the one I ended up with. The purple turns dark red, the gold bits turn silver, and the white markings stay the same. This one reminds me a little bit of shiny Yveltal from X and Y, and I think it looks pretty good. But here's the one we actually ended up with. The gold bits stay the same, but the body turns this kind of weird color that's like half dark red and half purple. Plus the white highlights turn a dark color. I tried my best to recreate it faithfully, but it's a really weird looking shiny, and honestly, I don't think it looks very good. But I did kind of guess the main red tone correctly, so on this one, I'm gonna give myself a C-. Up next, we've got the first of the mysterious Ultra Beasts. It's UB01. And back when this thing was first revealed, I assumed two things. One, that it would be catchable, and therefore two, it would receive a shiny. So I made 3 shinies for it back then. One that gets dark blue highlights, one that gets purple highlights, and one that gets turquoise highlights. And guess what? Not only do the Ultra Beasts appear to be catchable, but they do in fact receive shinies. In this case, UB01 gains golden yellow highlights, which I gotta give a shout out to user King Chiggy here, because he commented on my channel back then, saying that shiny UB01 should turn this exact same color. You nailed it, dude, but I didn't, color-wise at least. I mean, I did guess that the Ultra Beast could be both catchable and shiny, which is a pretty good get. Still though, the color is way off, so I'm gonna give myself a D-. Next up, we've got perhaps the prettiest cockroach to ever exist. It's UB02 Beauty. And like UB01, I gave it 3 different shinies. One where the golden highlight turns silver and everything else turns gold, one where everything turns a light blue color, and lastly one that's light green but with purple highlights. And the one we got was mostly the same, but the highlights turn silver and its body turns darker as it moves down towards the feet. So I whiffed pretty hard on this one, but I did guess that it would get silver highlights, and I guessed the very fact that it could be shiny in the first place. So I'm gonna give myself a D. And moving on, we've got the last of the officially revealed Ultra Beasts. It's UB02 Absorption. When it was first revealed, I thought that UB02 Absorption would get a shiny that completely changes its color, and I made 3 different versions of that. One that's golden yellow all over, one that's green all over like the Incredible Hulk, and one that's blue all over like the Tick. And the one we got was, everything stays the same, but the dark stripes all turn a bright green. I mean, I did guess that green would be involved here, and again, it does receive a shiny, so I'm gonna give myself another D. And lastly, we've got this generation's mythical Pokemon, it's Magearna. For some reason, when Magearna was first revealed, I thought its shiny should turn gold all over with silver highlights and electric green eyes, which I think looks great. And the shiny we got is not this one, actually. While it's a popular theory that this red and gold Magearna isn't shiny, it's apparently just a Pokeball form that will probably get us some kind of movie tie-in down the road. Instead, Magearna's shiny is actually mostly black, with paler gray bits and bright yellow highlights, which looks pretty good, but I really thought they could have done a lot more with this shiny. That said, I got pretty much everything wrong on this one, so I'm gonna have to give myself one final F. Alright guys, that kind of wraps it up for Sun and Moon shiny speculation. But while I've been making these videos, I've found that there's something kind of weird about the shinies in Sun and Moon, so I'm gonna have a video discussing that coming soon. But until then guys, as always, we are gonna see you on the next shiny.